Okay, me again. We're on chapter 7 of our book on tyranny. Be reflective if you must be armed. If you carry a weapon in public service, may God bless you and keep you. But know that evils of the past involve policemen and soldiers finding themselves one day doing irregular things. Be ready to say no. Authoritarian regimes usually include special riot police force, whose task is to disperse citizens who seek to protest, and a secret state police force, whose assignments include the murder of dissenters or other designated as enemies. And indeed, we find forces of the latter kind deeply involved in the great atrocities of the 20th century, such as the Great Terror in the Soviet Union of 1937 to 38 and the Holocaust of European Jews perpetrated by Nazi Germany in 1941 to 45. Yet we make a great mistake if we imagine that the Soviet NKVD or the Nazi SS acted without support, without the assistance of regular police forces and sometimes regular soldiers. They could not have killed on such a large scale. And I'm seeing something, I'll have to find the details directly, but there was a document stating that they want to change some laws for the cartels and claim that their drug crimes are punishable by death, but they are also including illegal immigrants in that same little snippet. So I'll find that and tell you guys about it. So in the Great Terror in the Soviet Union, NKVD officers recorded 682,691 executions of supposed enemies of the state, most of them peasants or members of national minorities. Perhaps no organ of violence has ever been more centralized or better organized than the NKVD of those years. A small number of men carried out the neck shots, which meant that certain NKVD officers had thousands of political murders on their conscience. Even so, they could not possibly have carried out this campaign without the assistance of local police forces, legal professionals, and civil servants throughout the Soviet Union. The Great Terror took place during a state of exception that required all policemen to subordinate themselves to the NKVD and its special tasks. The policemen were not the principal perpetrators, but they provided the indispensable manpower. This reminds me of those security guards keeping our lawmakers out of our government buildings. What the fuck? When we think of the Nazi Holocaust of the Jews, we imagine Auschwitz and mechanized impersonal death. This was a convenient way for Germans to remember the Holocaust, since they could claim that few of them had known exactly what had happened behind those gates. In fact, the Holocaust began not in the death facilities, but over shooting pits in Eastern Europe. And indeed, some of the commanders of the Einsatzgruppen, the German task force that perpetrated some of the murders, were tried at Nuremberg and later on in West German courts. But even these trials were a kind of minimization of the scale of the crime. Not the SS commanders alone, but essentially all of the thousands of men who served under their command were murderers. And this was just the beginning. Every large-scale shooting action of the Holocaust, more than 33,000 Jews murdered outside Kyiv, more than 28,000 outside Riga, and on, involved the regular German police. All in all, regular policemen murdered more Jews than the Einsatzgruppen. Many of them had no special preparation for this task. They found themselves in an unknown land, they had their orders, and they did not want to look weak. In the rare cases when they refused these orders to murder Jews, policemen were not punished. Some killed for murderous conviction, but many others who killed were just afraid to stand out. Other forces were at work besides conformism, but without the conformists, the great atrocities would have been impossible. All right, guys. I love you. Bye.